In this video, we're going to talk about Flux, an image generation model. These pictures that I'm showing over here has been generated by Flux. And if you guys have been following me on my channel, you may have observed some thumbnails with various images, and I usually generate them from ChatGPT, the premium version. But nowadays, I think that I don't need to use a paid subscription for ChatGPT because I don't need to generate these images from ChatGPT anymore. I can just use this open source, free to use language model to create my images that looks exceptionally beautiful. Now, this video will be broken down into two main sections. We're going to talk about what it is, talk a little bit about the architecture, the performance, and different ways of using it. We're going to go through a bit more expensive way of using it and a bit more cheaper way of using it. Now, by the way, I make similar videos like these on LLMs, machine learning, and other data science tools. So please feel free to subscribe. So the Flux models have three main variants. Now over here on the scorings, we have Flux 1 Pro and Flux 1 Dev. And there's another one called Flux 1 Schnell, which I'm going to talk about very, very soon. But essentially, as you can see, these two are outperforming the recent models, including the Stable Diffusion 3, which I made a video on previously. And they're performing quite well on the ELO score. Now, personally, I'm not that well versed in the ELO score myself, but this is what they're reporting. So I am quite sure they're valid. Now, when it comes to the different Flux models, as I mentioned before, we have the Dev and the Pro and the Schnell. Now, currently, the Dev and Schnell is what is available right now. And the Pro is, I believe, hasn't been open sourced yet. I don't know if they're going to open source it, but nevertheless, we have a cost diagram between the capabilities and the cost. Now, a lot of people have been talking about these models, but very few people have actually talked about the accuracies behind it. Apparently, according to their blog post, they have used a combination of these two different architectures, combined them together. So on the left-hand side, we have the multimodal architecture, and the right-hand side, we have the parallel vision transformer model, which they both use in combination to create our Flux models. Now, let's talk about how we can actually use it. Okay, here we have a Google Colab instance where we have an A100 GPU. So this is the Pro Plus. I believe it costs around 50 euros, if I'm not wrong, something along the lines. But again, this will be the more expensive variant of using this model. So first things first, we're going to install the packages over here. But before that, we actually have to install one more package called the diffusers. And once we've done that, now we can actually use the diffusers to import our Flux pipeline. And with the pipeline, we can download our Flux model. So over here, we have pipe equals to Flux pipeline from pre-trained. This is the pre-trained model that is available in Hugging Face over here. And as we can see, there's around 350,000 downloads. And then we're going to add one more command for enabling model CPU offload. Now this will take some time to download the model. We're going to grant access. Now, of course, you can run this in your local machine as well, and not just on Go Colab if you have a strong enough GPU. Okay, after that, we're going to define a prompt. This will be the boilerplate prompt that I found, and we're going to pass it into the pipe or the Flux pipeline with the prompt, the width, the dimensions of the images, and some other factors. Now, this is something that you can change for yourself, and then we can save it into an image called flux.png. So you just have to wait a few seconds to maybe a minute. Now the image has been saved in a local directory. So if you refresh this, we can see our image. And as we can see, we got a cat holding hello world in a piece of paper. And what is interesting is I've actually run this code before, and it seems like it generates the almost exact same picture, which is a good news because that means the prompt you're providing is going to provide a consistent output. That's one observation that I found. Now, what if you don't have a strong GPU or don't want to get into a Colab Pro Plus subscription? That's completely fine. There is someone, or I think it's the same people from Black Forest Lab that made the Flux running on the Hugging Face hub. So what you can do, you can just enter a prompt such as this, a cat holding a sign with hello world. And if you run it, we should be able to see an image very, very soon. And I believe this requires almost no cost at all, if I'm not wrong, which means this is a free way to generate images of your liking. They have it on both the Dev and the Schnell variant. I believe they don't have the Pro variant over here. And there we go. Here we have a cat holding hello world. Again, as we can see, very, very similar images for the same cat, but slightly different over here as well. Now, what if you want to use a different way of generating an image? You can go to this specific link over here from Replicate, where they're hosting this Flux Dev. I'm not sure if they're hosting the Pro version as well. We can actually see if they are. Yes, they are. They are hosting the Flux Pro version, where you can pay around 0.3 or around 30 cents for each image that is being generated, with the various prompts and various parameters they can use to tune it. Not only that, you can also use it in REST API format or using a Python package, so you have a lot of flexibility with this specific way. Alright guys, that's a quick video on Flux on how to use it in various ways, from expensive to cheaper ways of using it. Hope you found this video insightful. If you guys did, please feel free to subscribe. I make similar videos like these. Alright guys, I hope to see you in my next video. Have a nice day.